It is time to watch a show. It's time to pump you up.
We are live. On that note, we are live. Musty Wargamers Season 6, Episode 15. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We have got our three individuals that are typically on the show in the house. And
who is the other three?
Oh, Rusty.
See, I'm not sure who's on board with us right now, but let's see. Yeah, we'll see. So, how's everybody doing?
Oh, not too bad.
Good, yeah.
I just picked up smoking all this Canadian air coming down here.
Yeah, what? Can you guys keep your own air up there?
Hey, Tim's on. Hi, Tim.
Oh, there he is.
There we go.
Tim.
Hey there.
Yep.
Yeah, we're getting some red suns all day. That's what we've been getting.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not quite like New York City's having. My youngest daughter's out there now. First time she's been out there, and of course she's there while the air quality is just terrible. But
oh man,
so it's like a typical day in LA. So
yeah, that's what I figured too.
And they have they've been having wildfires in California for a long time now.
Yeah,
I guess you guys are getting the smoke. I guess.
Yeah, we're getting smoke from the Quebec ones, I think.
Yeah, that's a wee bit. Which is interesting how we're getting smoke here from Canada, and it's over in Quebec. Which is way east of us. So.
Yeah.
Going up and around.
There's that. Yeah, the jet stream is going way up and down because, like, our weather's kind of. We're getting some pop-up showers that are moving from east to west the last 5 to 7 days here, which is so not normal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least you're getting rain.
Anyway, yeah.
It's been raining around us, but we haven't got any rain here. My yard is starting to brown up.
Yeah, ours is brown too. We actually had a little shower this morning here. First time it's rained since it's been about a month. Yeah, we're dying for rain again. But
that it is. So, what have you been up to, Dan?
Well, last weekend I did that bolt action tournament.
Oh, how'd that go?
Actually, was a lot of fun. Good. It's that 2-day one, so it's pretty brutal because I got to get up early and get my livestock chores done, and then drive down, and then you play 3 games Saturday, and then I come back home, do chores, and early again, and go down Sunday for 2 more games. And it actually worked out really fine. The weather was good. And the tournament organizer for the bolt action portion, he played to give us 8 people. It was a nice little group. I mean, that's the least amount that they've had there since I've been going. But and it was all people that have come in the past, and really enjoyable people to play against. We had a great, some of the best games I've had. Yeah, it was a great experience. And they did an Axis versus Allies thing, so you kind of had, and then there was different point levels, and you even played a game of teams, and I've never played teams before in bolt action, so that was kind of a fun thing. Every game was some different twist on it, or different amount of points, and so it was really laid back though. So I think the small group made that different format work well. I'm usually not, and it was funny because I'd painted my Russians all last year, and I played 1 game with Mark, that local buddy of mine. I think the end of February, and so that was it, and that was. We played 1250, but the tournament ended up being, which usually the tournament is 1250, but this time you had to bring a 500-point list and a 1,000-point list. And so I didn't even have a list built for that. I painted up all kinds of extra stuff, so it was no problem, but I'd never played the list, and I'd only played Soviets that 1 game. So it was, I was pretty wet behind the ears trying to figure that out, but it was worked out really well. I had 2 draws, two minor losses and then a major loss. And in my defense, the major loss and one of the draws was against the guy that won the tournament.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then and I did. I won the. They have best Axis, best allies, and then overall champion. And then the fourth award they have is for painting and sportsmanship.
Yeah.
And I won that. So that
Nice.
was, yeah. So you got a plaque and then a gift certificate to the gaming local hobby shop there. So got $100 to go spend there on something fun. And,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's it was cool. And overall the tournament numbers were down, so it wasn't just everybody. It wasn't just bolt action, but it's still a nice group of people. And again, I think we've talked about before. Tournament. I'm not really into the tournament thing, and I'm not into like trying to calculate this, competitive list and it's not where I really like to be for gaming, but it's a chance to get a bunch of games in. They always have really nice terrain, and then the guys that come are always just a blast to see. It's almost like a little bit of reunion, seeing what everybody's been up to,
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was a lot of fun, exhausting weekend, but that was good. And did a little bit of painting through the week, but not too much. It was kind of a busy work week for me too. So yeah, it's nice to finally sit down tonight and get back to doing some painting. I guess right before the tournament, which was the week after our last show, I finished getting my display board ready and trying to build a list and just get stuff packed up and organized to go. So I kind of ate up my painting time, but yeah, I'll always look forward to. It's always a fun time, and it was no different this year. So yeah, so that's what I was kind of up to the last couple of weeks.
Well, you've been pretty busy then if you've been painting and doing that. That's more than me.
Well, it was kind of go time because I had everybody painted, but my display board and my list building, and then kind of figuring out how I was going to transport it. I hadn't really done that extra step because I kept having a fear they were going to cancel it for low turnout. And so I thought, well, I wasn't going to spend a bunch of time, prepping for something that wasn't going to happen. And so then it was a little bit of a mad scramble when the TO reached out and asked if I was still hoping to, planning to go. He said he understood if I didn't want to, and, because of the low turnout and the amount of money you pay to be in the tournament and how far it was. And I said, no, if the other people are going, I'll be there. And so it was, yeah. So it kind of all came together at the last second there. So, yeah, a lot of fun though.
That's great.
Good to go.
Yeah.
How about you,
Good to
Rusty?
go.
What have you been up to?
Haven't been playing any games since the last time we talked. No one's doing anything that I know of. If they have, they hadn't invited me. Let's see.
Well, maybe that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably it. Yeah. It's like, we don't want
That's
anything to
right.
do with
They don't want
him.
to play with you.
No, we're going to take our little toys and go.
Pretty apparent.
But I've been doing a lot of painting lately. Did some
positive.
printing, got some painting.
Yeah, I saw some of your printing. That's awesome.
I did this little guy. It's like the last show. I think the last show we had, I had to print it off, didn't I?
Yep, printed, but nothing else.
Yeah, so I got the
Nice.
The Persian tank is all painted up and ready to rock. He's all
Is that
done.
supposed to be 1/48 scale? Do you know, or what? Do you know what scale?
I think it's 156 or 152. The Persian tank is pretty big.
Yeah, that's a beast, and I know it's a beast anyway. But
yeah, it was originally our heavy tank, but then we called it a medium tank. And then I got this little guy. The White Scout car is all finished. It's all painted up.
Nice.
That's nice.
I totally forgot about doing a video. It was like today. I was like, oh man, I forgot to do a video. It's talking about the show coming up. So I got the White Scout car. That's finished.
Oh,
And then I got the BTR 40. That's done.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's a cool looking.
if you're
you don't see that on the table much.
no, it's just your basic. It's like a White Scout car. I think the Russians looked at the White Scout car and go, "Oh, we can make our own." So
Yeah.
that's a lot of the thinking process that went with that. And then I printed this guy out. That silhouette should
yeah.
look familiar.
You betcha.
Yeah, this is the M36 Jackson.
Yeah. Okay.
Or is it the M10?
M10 Wolverine? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's nice.
Yeah, so it's like it's got the same chassis, but it just has a different turret. So you just swap turrets. There you go.
So you printed that hollow. Is that what it looks like?
Yes, it is hollow. You can
Yeah.
see right there. There's a little
Oh yeah. Yep.
hole where I stuck the LED light in, and I didn't get it quite filled up the way it should be. There's holes in the bottom that I filled. You can sort of see where they were.
Oh
But
yeah.
you never see the bottom.
No.
But it is printed hollow, so it is light.
Save some resin.
Yeah, it's saves about half the amount of resin if you would print it than printing it solid.
Yeah. That's
tonight
worth
I'm
doing.
going to put a coat of violet brown on
Okay.
from Vallejo.
It's the color I use.
And then it's like you seen her the last time was printed out and put together.
Mhm.
Oh man.
Nice. Looking
So
good.
I got the base coats on her.
Coming along. Yeah.
Yeah. So
God, that's huge.
it's Electra. But
like
that's
bigger
not
than
all. Wait, there's more.
The base. Oh,
There we go.
oh man.
Daredevil.
Nice.
Same scale.
God, those are big.
1/6 scale. So he's a foot
okay.
tall.
Yeah, they're bigger than action figures.
When you
Yeah.
had the other one out, I remember how she dwarfed the other Daredevil, but that one looks proper.
Yeah, you
Proper
can see.
scale.
Let's use her as a pointer. Right there is the old Daredevil. Right there.
Oh, I see him. Yeah.
There's a one. That there is a 1/6. I think it's 1/6 scale. No, that's 1/4 scale. Supergirl right there. You see her cape.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh
But
yeah.
that's
Yep.
that Daredevil's 1/8 scale, and this is 1/6 scale. It's amazing how much a 1/8 versus 1/6 is versus 1/4.
How much difference? Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's a good percentage, I guess.
Now, if I was going to
that's-
try, I can't do these guys or gals in quarter scale because they don't fit on my print plate. I tried scaling it up. It's like, my gosh, the
Ah.
pieces don't fit on it. So,
Well, pretty
I
soon
will
you'll
have
be doing
to.
it full scale. Anyway.
you see, one of the channels I watch, he's doing a Galactus quarter scale, I think,
Okay.
Galactus. And that thing is huge. And he's
Mm.
also somebody, I think he's maybe thinking about doing a quarter scale Optimus Prime. It's over 6 foot
wow.
tall. It's huge.
Good grief.
Yeah.
I'd be painting
You
it
got to
with
have a
spray
big
cans.
printer to print those things off.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
there is so far I got 3 coats of paint on him, and I still got to put another coat on. You could see, I don't know if you could see it,
Yeah.
but you can see that there's still blotches on it. Because
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
using
a little bit.
this apple barrel. It's
paint.
thin,
Yep.
kind
Yeah.
of opaque, so it takes a few more coats, but it's
That's
cheap.
okay. And it keeps you from getting it too thick anyway. So
Yeah.
that's
So
possible.
it's like putting this model air color on. You know, it's thin,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
but for 99 cents,
Yeah.
can you
Because
say?
otherwise, man, that would take a lot of paint
Yeah, it would.
of price of spendy paint. Yeah.
Hey, you could buy 5 coffees for that.
5 coffees.
Or the
That's
other way
how we'll
around.
measure.
No, the other way around. You could buy 5 things of paint for 1 coffee, is what I meant.
Yeah.
If you were to go to a Starbucks, you could get, that would be like 5 or 6 apple barrel paints.
What's this coffee stuff you talk about?
What is this? Oh yeah, that's true. You don't
Right.
drink coffee. So you take your coffee as apple barrel.
It's a little not so good, but all right. Tonight's drink is Glen Moray 12-year-old.
Nice.
Wow. Special occasion.
Just some normal stuff.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of 12-year-old. Well, you see my liquor cabinet, so
Yeah.
I got a wee
You're
bit
well
of
stocked.
alcohol in the house.
Well, you never know when you're gonna be in dire need.
Well, for me, I have not advanced much. Since we've been talking, I put some skin tone. I'm using some for the ogre. I started with some dwarf skin, and I'm just going to lighten it up. But I am currently still working on my Mordheim guys, and so this my ogre now has some flesh tones on him, and I'll work on that. But then, the other guys, I'm just going to be working on the flesh tones tonight. I did end up getting from this set of Mordheim guys. I ended up getting one of the official 2 captains. Now it's kind of hard to see, but this guy has 2 pistols. He's working with a brace of pistols.
Oh, yep, I see.
And the actual the handle on the sword was missculpted. It was just, but it's still a handle that's on it. I actually think it's fine, to be quite honest. I'm just going to leave it as is. But really, the guy that actually, I did some trades for this, and he told me about it in advance, and I had said I don't really care about that. I can fix that if I need to, but it's fine. But yeah, it's basically one of these 3 that I have here, of the ones that are the official Mordheim, just with a and then I have a champion coming too that I had traded for over the internet, and so it's actually in the blister, which is kind of cool.
Wow.
I almost feel bad opening it, but when that happens, but yeah, so I've got that coming. A guy that I think is holding a big flail, and he's damaged. He's got like a bandage on his head or something, and so I kind of think it's cool to kind of collect the set. And then I actually have 2 Beastmen Bestigors coming for my Beastmen Warband from Mordheim that are the only 2 miniatures I don't have to complete the set, except for there is actually a Chaos Hound, one that didn't come in the basic set that was an extra that I would like to get one day. But I'm pretty close to having the whole set of the Beastmen. And then the same guy gave me, this is painted, I just have to strip it, but it's actually a Beastman from Mordheim, but it's from the original Chaos Cultists Carnival of Chaos sort of set. And so they were the earlier set than the Beastman Warband proper. So it's actually from a different line of sculpts, but it is still a Chaos Beastman. So I thought this would be kind of nice to have as an extra Beastman within that group. I'll paint him up similar. I thought it'd be neat. So yeah, I got a couple of those, some things on the way, but that's about it. Not really, just kind of plugging away on this. Just been busy as usual with work and ride motorcycles after work. I probably could be painting, but I've been riding a motorcycle a lot. I'm mostly on the motorcycle after work, usually. And
Well, that's good. You're having fun with that.
Yeah, and it's from a weather perspective. It's
you got to do it when you can do it.
Yeah, well, in Canada for sure. That's part of it.
Yeah.
And then tonight for my musty drink, I've got. Let's see here. I've got a Sapporo. Basically, big tall can of Sapporo. And so
Going to Sapporo sub Sapporo.
Sapporo.
That's it. That's one way of looking at it. And so that's it for me.
Cool.
Let's see here.
Yeah, we got anybody else on? Well,
I don't think so. It's actually lowest that I've seen in a long time.
Well, it is summer.
Amount of people. Yeah, it's getting towards that. That's true. we're getting towards that time. Actually, I was we were talking before the show, before you came on, Dan. We were thinking that maybe one more tops probably for us for this season.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Well, I'm moving into a new place. I mean, there's nothing stopping you guys from doing it if you want, but I'm moving into a new place for July 1st, and I'm preparing for that. And then also after the next one, it would be end of July. And so I don't think I could probably at this point do it in July, which we never usually go that long. It's usually June.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually only have like 2 shows in June.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So it'd be we got Chris in the house. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, hey Chris.
Hey.
He says it's summer. See, it's summer. Feels like summer here. It's hot.
Yeah.
Well, the last 2 days haven't been too bad.
Well, we were cool today with the clouds and the showers, but man, it's been hot.
Were you getting rain today or something?
Well, first time in a month. We're supposedly drier than you on the map anyway. I don't know if that's right, but
well,
anyway, rain is welcome. I won't turn it away.
Yeah, that is true. You take it when you get it.
Take it when you can get it, for sure. So you're moving houses, Palmer, you mean? Oh, geez.
Sorry for a second. I am. Yeah.
Chicka bow wow.
Getting jiggy with it. Yeah.
Right. It's I'm actually not moving houses permanently. As a matter of fact, like this place is actually untouched, this room. But I am we bought a home that was 15 years ago that was built in 82, and we're having to do a renovation. And so we're moving out for like 6 months. Yeah. And so
that's a
you're
full
going to play
rebuild.
a Billy Joel song. You're moving out.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, this is sort of like, this was like an attempt to basically have what we need for a fairly long time, after this, and just kind of get it done. Not to say that we'll definitely stay here forever, but the goal is not to move anytime soon. And it's that, like when we I know this is not one of our topics, but when we bought our house, it had the original kitchen from 1982.
Oh, sure.
And so we just, needed some major stuff done, because when we bought the house, we got a good deal, and the idea was we'll just renovate the kitchen. Well, we never did, and we just kind of lived with it, the whole time, and and so it just needs.
We're the same way. Yeah, we'll do that someday.
Yeah,
you didn't do it. Yeah.
Well, your kitchen's a lot nicer than my kitchen.
Mine?
Yes.
Other than we tore the carpet out, it's exactly the way we bought it back in '93, and it was, I think they remodeled in '80. It was sometime in late '80s when they remodeled it, so it's old. But
well, your kitchen's newer than mine.
Okay.
I got a '70s kitchen.
Well, actually, that wouldn't be so bad. I have some good memories of the '70s.
Well, it's like when we moved in, it was, you can still see the old green and linoleum that's in there.
Yeah.
And when we first moved in, everything was that lime green color.
That's what our appliances were, and as they died, we replaced one at a time.
Not olive green.
Yeah, it was kind of that 70s green.
That darker green, yeah.
Yeah.
So
darker.
I've replaced the sink. I replaced the stove unit. We got new stove and the blower on top. I replaced that, but then we still got that. Remember the brown, that dark chocolate brown, cabinetry.
Yeah, we have that in our bathroom upstairs because we haven't touched that either.
Yeah,
it's a living history house. Yeah, it's a time capsule.
It's like 2 years ago we replaced, and what was it, last year we replaced the siding and windows. So now we got that done. So probably next year we're thinking about redoing. I'm going to put new flooring in all throughout the house, and then molding and all that, and then eventually I want to redo the kitchen.
Yeah, doing the flooring, that's disruptive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have probably been done sooner if my son didn't move back into the house.
Got a couple comments. Chris was just asking how the smoke was. We were all talking about the smoke not that long ago. Actually, Calgary is really good, Chris. I don't know if you heard, but like 2 to 3 weeks ago, Calgary was like one of the worst places in the world for air quality based on the fires in northern Alberta. But like right now, I can tell you that the smoke isn't bad in Calgary at all. I think that I definitely hear a lot about it out east. I don't know how it is by you. Right now, we're actually pretty good. You know, knock on wood. I mean, I'm sure that it's going to come back again this summer. But then he says, "I have you beat Palmer 1971 kitchen." That is you definitely have me beat by a decade. We're still talking 4 decades versus 5.
Yeah. Kind of splitting hairs there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you're right. It still is 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it's a 70s kitchen, late 70s or early 70s kitchen, it's probably got that what the heck, paper, wallpaper on it that's got that floral look. And
I hope. Well, see, if you do it right, you don't have to remodel ever. It's just timeless and it's classic and perfect.
Well, one thing I will say is our kitchen, the cupboards, the doors themselves are probably as good as the day that they bought them, because they're basically these slatted wood doors that have this really it's a hard wood and this really clear lacquer finish, and nothing's ever happened to them. But if you look at the cabinet frame itself and the shelves, like the particle board and the Formica kind of stuff on top of it, it's disintegrated and it's all ready to collapse. So like the actual doors themselves are great. You know what I mean? Like they're perfect condition. But it's just a lot of other stuff. And then we're having to do some changes to it too, because we do have a bit more of a traditional home and we like it. Like, we're not getting rid of our dining room or anything, but excuse me, I'm allergic to what I'm about to say. But yeah, but at the same time, like, we have like a doorway that goes from a dining room right into our kitchen, so it limits the size of our kitchen. So we're basically closing that and making it open up into our hallway, and so we actually have like a whole bunch of wall to extend out our kitchen and just stuff like that. Like, we're just kind of making it a bit slightly bigger and just refinishing some things. And
so is it going to take 6 months to get done, or is that just the time you're allowing, or what?
It's supposed to go from August 1st to like mid-December. And that's actually no delays, right? And so I always allow for a month delay, something like that, or whatever.
Yeah, can't get materials or something.
Yeah. And so it's, and like it's a decent sized job. I mean, because it's upstairs and downstairs. We're even having some stuff done outside. It's a project. So,
well, that'll be cool when it's done.
It's like that movie with Tom Hanks, The Money Pit.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And was it who was the
female actress?
The mailman would drive by and just throw the mail out.
It was the woman from Cheers that was with him in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that movie. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a couple of weeks back.
Not as long ago as Chris's Kitchen, though.
Yeah. Can't hardly beat that. That's almost as old as I am.
He goes, the lino is awesome, and then he goes, my games room has red black damask carpet. Ooh.
Yes, but he does have a game room, though.
That's true. So what I heard you say is that you have a game room?
Yeah, that's all I heard out of that.
with leather padded bar. Pleather.
Pleather.
So, pleather. What is pleather again?
Fake leather.
Is it
faux leather?
It's not faux. They would call
faux
it
leather.
Pleather.
Pleather. Yeah.
But when you actually get like fake leather in a car now, there's a name for it, and it's not called faux, is it? Or pleather. Isn't there another name?
Leatherette.
I
don't know.
Chris says I was born in 71. I'm only a couple of years away from you. I was born in 73, so I don't feel bad.
I was
We're not
in
gonna go there.
school in 71.
Yeah.
I was in school. So that date's
Yeah.
right.
I'm getting younger all the time.
I'm getting some of the financials that are going towards this is giving me some extra space for motorcycle stuff, and that's actually one of the things that's making me kind of happy, because I'm gonna have a place to go and crack open a beer in the winter and work on my motorcycle, with and have room and not be kneeling in a puddle of mud.
So what's your wife getting in exchange for that?
Well, everything else.
Time away from him.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, you mean for that? Yeah, I guess that's true. But everything else, for the most part.
In addition to that, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Anyway,
were you thinking vinyl? Was that what you're thinking?
No, leatherette. Now it's come to me.
That's what I said, leatherette.
Maybe I heard it from you, but that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I just said it, yeah.
Yeah, leatherette is actually what I believe it's called these days, which is probably the same thing.
Yeah.
Because that made my other half laugh. Chris.
Vinyl bondage alert.
Oh my gosh.
It's hot out there, folks. Remember, it's the vinyl bondage alert has gone on.
I gotta step away. I gotta get a new brush because I'm painting with a brush that doesn't have a fishtail. It's got, what do you call it when you have 5 fishtails?
A dry brush.
Yeah, exactly. I need to start using a different brush. I can't make it work anymore. I'm tapping out.
Way to stick it out as long as you could, though. I'm the same way.
That. Hey, I got a coat of paint on it. Yay.
Oh, nice. I'll use a brush until it's like, yeah, and I don't know why I don't, move on, but it's still good. Even when it gets a hook on the end, it's like, that even kind of helps me because I can
get in
places, yeah. And then finally, I'm like, oh my gosh, man, give it up.
All right, that one gave up the ghost.
Yeah, that can be a one for painting bases or something.
Yeah, I got a whole jar of those.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. I get those faster than I can use them up. So then I don't know what to do with it.
One thing I did forget to show you guys, I guess I'm not even sure if it's worth showing, but I've got, I haven't even cured this yet. It's still actually not under the UV. I probably shouldn't be touching it. I'm doing a prison cart for Mordheim.
Cool.
So it actually has a top and bottom and wheels and all that stuff, but you can see the texture. But I'm basically doing like a prison cart that's just going to be like in the middle of my Mordheim town.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's something to do 3D printing wise. And what made me think of it is I was going to tell you guys one of the things I got to do now is figure out what I'm going to bring with me to this temporary location.
Right.
And to be able to not only chat with you guys in the fall, but like paint and stuff. Because I'm not bringing this monstrosity of a desk I have here. I got this for free, and it's so heavy and so like hugely it's a just big piece of garbage. But it's kind of it works. Yeah,
you got to take enough.
What kind of desk is it?
It's a big piece of garbage.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
It is truly.
They gave it to me for free. I got it on like a local. We have a thing called Kijiji here, which is like just a free thing. I mean, it's a thing you can buy use stuff like Marketplace, but it was before Marketplace. But I got it, and they just said just take it away, just get and I was like sure, because I just needed it for a painting desk, and so I was like I'll take it. But now there's no way I'm moving it twice, so I'm just going to use like one of those flip down tables, like that you can get at Home Depot or something. That I'm just going to use a table as a desk for a bit, and
That'll work as long as you got plenty of light.
Yeah.
Oh,
This-
now you're bringing out the big paint.
Yeah, the big one. Let's do some
That one's
terrain, baby.
$1.50. $1.50 for that one.
I think this was $1.99.
Yeah, I was using the same thing to paint my display board for the Soviets. Yeah, I made a kind of a ruined cityscape thing for Battle of Stalingrad Factory District. Painting with a 6-inch brush.
You betcha.
You betcha.
Uh-oh.
So where'd you find that file? Is that just on Thingiverse or whatever?
You know,
For that.
I think that one is called 3D, if I remember right.
Did you have to purchase it, or are those
No.
free? Yeah.
That was free. I mean, I have at times purchased some stuff, and sometimes the better stuff, like this ogre, like is really nice, is purchased. But there's some
Right.
really nice free stuff too.
Well, that's what I've different times people will show. Well, yeah, this was free and this was free, and I'm like,
One of the
Wow.
reasons is that some of the guys that do stuff for money, like
Mhm.
purchasing, also have examples and like
yep, kind of
Ones that-
let you check it out. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the-
cool.
The Daredevil and the Electra that I purchased those.
Okay.
It was a set. I think it cost me like $15.
Hmm. God, that's cheap though.
Yeah. So I was happy for that kind of money. That's
Yeah.
a good file.
Well, yeah, and once you have the file, you have the file. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
There
And
aren't
they
too
don't
many
have
times.
any. They said they don't have any problem if you print it out and paint it and sell it. It's okay. So
I've never really seen a situation where you purchased the file and it wasn't still a good deal in the end.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
2019 Dan would be highly suspect of this thing called 3D printing.
Yes. Well, I like to be the very last person to jump on the bandwagon.
Well, it's
Like-
changed a lot.
Like I'm running behind and waving, wait up, wait up.
Yeah, it's changed a lot since then, though.
Well, that's the biggest thing. And I assume that'll continue. It'll get even more user friendly, and it's gotten so affordable already. I think, if they would get it to the point, which it sounds like once, like you guys have gotten where like you can print something, walk away, and you wouldn't bet your life when you come back that it's going to be printed out perfect. But it seems like, it's pretty, you don't have much failed prints. And once you've kind of picked your resin that you're happy with, or the resin for different things that you're printing, then you're good to go.
I'd say for me, it's been once I figured out the settings I needed to set it at.
Yeah.
It's like put the file in there and tell it to print,
Just
and
walk
come
away.
back and
Yeah.
8, 12, 16 hours later, and it's.
So I was
done.
still thinking it was going to be so fiddly, and it's been probably more than a year now since I, excuse me, really looked into it and was watching a lot of really current YouTube videos of people, showing what they were doing with the different printers and giving you advice and helping you pick printer for your needs. And I was always a little scared away just because I'm like, it looked like it was going to be too time consuming with the limited amount of hobby time I have, that it was going to eat up a lot of my time doing that. And so now I would end up with is a bunch more unpainted miniatures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it sounds like that isn't necessarily the case anymore, as far as, they're pretty solid as far as functionality.
The resin, I would say when I was doing the filament printing, I had a lot of failed stuff, and it was a little more tricky for me. But
Yeah,
this stuff is like the resin printing is closer to set it and forget it for me.
that's what it sounds like. Yeah. And then once you find the resin that you're happy with the performance, then you're good to go. So, yeah, I'm still tempted. I guess the other thing for me is I still see so many miniatures that you can purchase that are like really cool, you know, that I'd be just as happy. You could say, well, you could save cash by printing your own, which would be true. But at the same time, I'm lucky in a year if I paint, I don't know, it's been a little bit since I've added up, but if I paint 200 miniatures in a year is that's about my limit. So then I don't know, then of course it's not like it has to figure out economically either, but that would just open up a whole bunch more, miniatures that you and terrain and vehicles for bolt action where it'd just be like, already you feel like, squirrel. It's like, oh, look at that cool thing. Ooh, look at that cool thing. So maybe it just muddies the waters more anyways, but, and then I guess the last final thing on that is that I'm always a little nervous if the resin, what is it like, which doesn't matter. I don't know, but this crosses my mind. Like in 10 or 15 years, does it get brittle? Because of where you're storing it, or is it photosensitive? So, on your display cabinet and it gets exposed to a couple hours of sun, maybe in the afternoon for a little while as the sun goes across your room. And
I wouldn't think it would matter with paint on it.
You'd think not, but it's just, I'm always curious, how do they last? The properties of metal and then the polystyrene that you get, and so I kind of know what that is. So and of course I know if they get hot, they can melt, but that'd be, plastic can too. So I don't know.
That is true. Like the unknown can be scary, and painting time is a lot of a time investment.
Yeah.
So from that perspective,
and I just don't. I enjoy my painting time, and I get a lot more now than I used to. But I still have so many things that I already actually own. Like we've had this discussion before. I could literally probably never buy another miniature starting now, and painting at the pace I paint now. I wouldn't get everything painted that I have. I mean, without a question.
Yeah.
So assuming I'm not still like this incredible painter when I'm 90 or something, but I'm just, so then it just seems like, well, then is it just more? Do I need more?
Well, terrain is, you have to look at it from one thing I would say is if you look at it from the perspective of terrain and stuff, it is sort of, in some ways, still just replacing stuff that you're going to try to make anyway, or it's going to enhance things that you're going to try to make, but you're making little pieces of furniture and stuff that you could have in your house,
right,
and stuff like that. And so I don't know, like slow painting, like I know what you mean, and I still paint, as you can see. Like out of the stuff I'm painting here, only one of them's 3D printed, and that's probably unusual. I'm actually still painting stuff that I purchase a lot, but.
Chris has said some stuff about. We had some comments on the subject.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got some comments here. He says, "I buy 100 brushes off Amazon. My painting room is under the stairs."
Sort of like Harry Potter, then,
or what?
Yeah.
Painting troll. I'm a painting troll under the stairs.
Painting troll under the stairs.
I mostly buy for files now. I have had bad luck with free files.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I saw Tim's post here. What is a Brobding Nagan? I'm not sure what that is. I mentioned that my desk is a piece of garbage. I'm assuming that whatever that is not good. They'll have to tell me more. Prime right away and paint, you'll be good.
Yeah, okay. And it's probably not a thing. It crosses my mind sometimes, because, I've got miniatures I painted from the 80s, and they're metal. Of course, you could just strip them and they'd be like brand new. But so even if that wasn't the case, who cares? I don't know why I worry about that.
Chris says, I have minis that were printed 5 years ago that are still perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it's just a silly thing I think about. Okay, here's the big reveal. Tim says it means giant.
Oh.
That's an
Well,
incredible vocab word, and I might
yeah,
try to work that in tomorrow.
that's true.
I'll impress a lot of people, I bet. Cool. We're getting smarter, and we're getting painting done.
Yeah, this desk is kind of giant. Oh, I mean, yeah. That's like Norwegian or something like that.
Yeah, it seems
German?
like it is.
It's the Norwegian giant.
Norwegian.
Oh, you know what? That could sound like the name on an IKEA desk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our largest desk is called the Bromdingdigan.
We got to get the pronunciation guide, though, before we get too fancy.
Yeah.
And
Our largest desk for the fall selection.
the fall selection of big giant desk.
Oh, I was going to bring up, too, I did, I'm backing, which I don't know, I wouldn't have to, but Brigade Games in the United States they're doing their 4th wave for American War of Independence miniatures. They're metal miniatures sculpted by Paul Hicks. And they do, this is the 4th one, and I've looked at them before and just never backed them because they always funded, so the stuff was going to be available. And it's not this huge discount. It's a little bit of a discount, and it's not like there's exclusives or, so I was like, well, I'll just wait and get them when I want to get them. But this time I thought I would actually, since I'm painting AWI now anyway, I'd kind of support it to help, help encourage them to keep cranking them out. But they're really short. Like, I think like 10 days is all. And it's, AWI miniatures is such a niche. It's a niche within a niche, really, So I think there's only like 55 backers or something like that. But I mean, the funding goal was met in the first day, and then it's just a matter of people adding on. But it's mostly Hessians and then mounted British and Continental Dragoons and mounted Continental Militia, which is some stuff that I wanted. So I did one of the kind of medium pledge levels there. Yeah,
Well, this
I'm
is
kind of excited
28s?
about that. Yeah, 28s. Yeah. So I got
Yes.
so because Rusty, you got the British
Yes.
light dragoons or whatever you'd gotten that came up and stomped my cannon up on the hill during our last game that we used them. I'll never forget
Yeah, you
that.
forgot the load canister.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. They were going to get crushed. But so I got, I did the level that gets you the 3rd Continental Dragoons and the militia. So I'll be able to counteract that at some point. But anyway, Paul Hicks does some cool stuff, and it's fun to, and they're sculpted to scale with the Perrys, and which they do. So that's kind of cool. And it's always enticing. I always think too to kind of support, the small companies and he's sculpting them for Brigade Games, and so it's it's fun to kind of give them some support, I guess.
Yeah.
Stuff I can use anyway. So
How much is the each of the levels cost?
the level I'm doing, it'll give me 18 mounted. Because it's, let's see, how is it? 6? Or let's see, 3, 9. Yeah, 9. There's 9 mounted militia and 9 mounted light dragoons, and the pledge level is $97. Basically, it's like it's only like 15% off of what they'll be in his store. But I figured I was going to pick them up sometime anyway, and again, yeah, I just thought, help support that so they can keep cranking them out. But I think there's a level. They did have a couple of levels where you got one pack of all the things there was 60 some miniatures or something, or 57 that came out with this Kickstarter, and they had a couple super early bird levels that gave you like a 20% discount on them or something. And then there's one that's just infantry. There's one that's all of the mounted troops for British and Continental and the militia. They'll have all of them. And then there was just, they kind of broke them apart. I think the lowest level really they had was $80 for any kind of a discount packs type situation. But
Okay.
so
That's still
yeah,
going on, or
yeah, I think it gets over here. I don't know, maybe Friday or Saturday. It's just a couple days left. And I was getting an impression he put up an update here, yesterday or something this morning. Yesterday, it sounds like he's a little disappointed in the response. With the amount of interest, I guess is the word. But like the people on the that are funding it or said, again, it's a niche within a niche, and it's not like there aren't miniatures out there. Perry's does them, and there's all kinds of Front Rank does them, Foundry does them, and I mean there's just tons of manufacturers anyway.
Well, and there's also what we've been talking about. Like the question is how much does the 3D printing change things?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people were just getting stuff to get stuff because it's all they could get, right? Like, as far as...
Yep.
But now you can get
option.
AWI, I think, 3D printed. I think
Yep, you can.
Some.
Yeah, I've looked at some of the options out there. And again, of course, the 3D printed ones, you buy the files. They're not free, obviously, but yeah, it's way cheaper. But for me, I'm, AWI, even though I'm building a couple pretty good sized armies, it's not Napoleonics. I'm not going to have thousands of miniatures. So,
and you're also trying to scale up to certain ones that you have.
Yes, exactly.
So these ones match the Perrys you said, and that's
they match the Perrys, and then I've already got a few of these Paul Hicks from Brigade Games, so it fits in the same style with what I've got, and I do like metal too. So I don't know. I mean, there's a million ways to do it. Like you said, it's a crowded field in a tiny field. So
we've got we're halfway through, and we've got 2 topics, and we've got some comments. So I would suggest, I feel like actually.
Wow.
Shouldn't be talking like this. I'm kind of starting to fall right into my normal day-to-day groove. I would suggest that we...
Sound like we're getting scolded.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second. What am I doing? What am I doing here?
No, somebody's got to keep it moving on.
Stay on target.
Yep.
I'm going to go through the comments, and then we'll start our first topic.
Roger that.
I learned my lesson, clean prime right away or will overcure in the light. Yeah, for my work, I don't know if he's referring to my Mordheim. I normally always do. I did the clean right away, but I normally prime, cure right away too, and I didn't in this case. It's kind of like sticky, because of that tacky kind of feeling.
Oh, sure.
It's like a little bit. It's not like a goopy like your fingerprint kind of thing. It's just more like there's just to the touch. It's just got that little tacky kind of feeling. It's solid but tacky. Tim says it's pronounced Brobdingnagian. Brobdingnagian.
Wow, say that 10 times. Wow.
And did the audio go out?
I can hear you, but it looks like Rusty. He was working away and he's froze.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's quiet.
I think when I said Brobdingnagian twice, it put a curse on him.
I was gonna say you cast a spell.
Yeah, like now he's frozen. Look, like I've actually frozen half the world.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. So Paul is sculpting fantasy miniatures right now for Footsore. Interesting. Oh, here's back.
He stays busy.
So
I
if
could hear the talking, but I couldn't do anything about it.
Oh, you could.
I take it back.
Yeah.
I know where you guys live.
Yeah, literally. Oh God.
And then Tim says, "What was that for Rusty?" Not sure what was he referring to there.
What was that for, Rusty?
Oh, what was that for, Rusty? Maybe is what he said.
Yeah.
Oh, what was holding up? The big giant piece. That's the base for Daredevil.
Oh,
okay.
There you go. That's what he was wondering. Yeah, I'll bet.
A lot of people are not doing Kickstarter anymore due to issues.
That's the base for.
Oh,
Daredevil.
look who's in the house! We got Vic's Miniatures. Hey there!
Oh man, there. Hey Vic.
Yeah, nice.
Victor.
Long time no see.
Yeah, I saw you just put up a video. Like, was it today? I haven't watched it, but I hadn't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, no, it's good to see him in the house.
Yeah.
I have not been on YouTube much at all. Like, I hardly ever put videos up anymore. But
I don't either.
We still do this show though. And then we've got "Don't Say It 3 Times" for Battle Tech. No.
Yeah.
Did somebody say BattleTech?
Ian
I
Click
think
your
he was-
heels 3 times to say BattleTech. You end up in the 31st century.
I think he's talking about his giant word, which I can't.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it again because it might send Rusty up to the space station if I say it one more time. Right after I said it, you froze up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Rick says, "Yes, I did put one up today, as far as videos. Yep, we'll have to
Yeah,
check that
see,
out.
I knew I saw that, and I'm like, wow, that's been a hot minute. Yep.
That's not a miniature. That's a miniature.
It's a maxiture.
Yeah,
It's
that's
macroture.
that's like that's massive.
Yeah, if I had a big enough printer, I'd do it in quarter scale. Then my wife would really want to divorce me. What are you going to do with that? Put it over there.
Next to the other one.
So we had our
First
topic.
Yeah, we should get to the topic. So, I know I should just pull it up here real quick because I've got them listed here. The first one was... Here we go. You're given $500 to spend on a war game project. What do you get? So we'll do clockwise, starting with Rusty and then Dan and then me. How about we do that for this one?
Sounds good.
Right. This topic is related to a certain individual that won some coin at his weekend excursion.
Oh yeah,
which is the reason for the topic.
Oh, that's funny because I even thought about that. I'm like, oh yeah, I was just thinking the other day after winning that, what would I do with it?
So,
you won $500?
No, that's
$100. 100 still.
Yeah,
100's better than a kick in the teeth is.
Yeah. So what do you think, Rusty?
Well,
what would you do
I was
500?
Thinking hard on it, and I was like, oh gosh, what would I do with 500? You know, if I had 500 to spend. I made $200 today off miniatures, but so I'm sort of there. Nice. Now I got a feeling it's going to go towards my motorcycle, but
oh, you guys.
Well, mine probably needs to go into the shop again.
Oh.
I was just thinking, it's like, what would I do if I had $500 to just buy miniatures? And I was like, well, I'm thinking it might go toward bolt action.
Well, there you go.
So very specific.
Talking some sense now.
We're not even talking in principles, like bolt action. Down to the game.
Not even, yeah.
Well, it'd be 28 mil Germans.
Late war, early war?
Well, for that amount of money, you could probably do both.
Yeah, are you just buying miniatures though, or are you? I mean, like starting a project, are you trying to include like paints or terrain or
Well,
army book or what do you? Or you know?
well, I
what
got
do
the
you,
book.
oh,
I got the
okay.
German Army book already, so it's not like a for the bolt action Army. So I was just thinking, it's like, all right, it wouldn't cost me probably $200 for the infantry to get early war and mid late war.
Yeah, especially if you do their plastics, they have, and then
Yeah, that would be the route I'd go, is because they have some good, decent value with their
oh
miniatures
yeah,
that way.
yep,
And I was like, okay, I would think about going with, or obviously a lot of some of the early war infantry stuff, it works just as fine for late war too,
yep.
because the uniforms didn't change that much unless they were in Africa.
Yeah, well, it depends how big of a stickler you are. If you want the camo smocks, or if you want the, they had the helmet covers later, or if they had the real early war had that decal on the side of their helmet, and it was more of a blue green, But yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, yeah,
And trying to put the little emblem on the side of the helmet, and it's like, how much work is that going to be for?
well, it just depends. Yeah,
How
what makes you happy?
it's like when you think about how much realistic you want to go, or how much do you want to strain your eyeballs.
Yeah, both. Well, that's cool. So Germans, what do you have for Germans? You don't have anything or what? I can't even
Uh,
remember.
I might have a squad of Germans. That's
Huh.
about it. So that's why I was thinking Germans. And I have Russians, I have the Americans, and then I have the Brits. I still need to finish putting together.
Germans. Didn't you see that controversial YouTube video that came out recently?
I don't watch YouTube. What's YouTube?
Jesus. Yeah, I avoid it. That's cool. That's a good project.
Yes.
I was just thinking. It's like it would be. I would. $500 might buy what 30-40K miniatures.
Yeah, that's frightening. He froze
Uh-oh.
up again.
He's there. Yeah.
He must have said that word.
40K. That was the word all along.
40K. Probably GW. Yeah, probably shut him off because he was talking trash.
Well, my son was doing trash last night. He was assembling Space Marines last night.
Oh man!
You
got him to do assembly, or does he normally? You said you do painting mostly, don't you?
I do the painting. He assembles stuff, but he'll buy the stuff and then assemble it, and then expect me to paint it when I have zero motivation for it. So
yeah, well, that's what dads do. If you want.
But yeah, that's what I'm thinking is my what I would go towards initially.
Yeah. Cool.
How about you, Dan?
For me, I was thinking, well, two things, but I was thinking about after you'd said what the topic was, what are projects that I would still like to do? And really, it still just comes down to there's really only one project that I just feel like I want to do before, because everything else I'm just adding to stuff I have. But I would do probably 15 millimeter because I've just, or possibly 10, but I think 15, and I do American Civil War.
Yeah,
and what I would
say $500 would get you a nice chunk of 15 mil.
Yeah, and I thought, well, two ways you could do it. I could spend, even at 15 millimeter, I could spend 150 or 100 or whatever on some terrain. Because see, that's the thing. I don't have any 15 millimeter terrain. Some of my terrain, 28 millimeter could be either way. You got your hills and your rivers and your roads and your, some of my smaller trees would work fine. but I'd want to get some buildings and, and a few things to really make it period, really capture the theme of the period. But then just buy miniatures, because I just the last 3 or 4 years I've just really been really intrigued with trying some smaller scale for large battle, and I think that would be the one that I would do, because I think it would have that massed effect. There's some good rule sets out there that could really make use of it, and they're they're pretty affordable. You can build up pretty good monster forces doing that, and I think they'd paint up pretty quick. So that's what I would do. I really, anything else I do, other than maybe doing like burrows and badgers, things like that. I think that's really my last project that I'd really. I mean, I'm going to do a early war Polish bolt action army, but that doesn't take you $500 to do that. But the last major project that's kind of something I have never done before, that would be it, I think. Yeah.
Now, you said the last couple of years you thought about getting more into the small scale.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because at one time you came over and played the 15 mil fantasy game?
Well, that was, honestly, because I thought about that when I was talking, because, yeah, that has a big part of it, really, Rusty, actually. For years, like decades, everything was just like 28 millimeter, or back when it was more 25, actually. And that's what most things were that I was aware of. I didn't know. And that's what I painted, and I like, you could paint details. I like it. But then, YouTube in the last, 5 or so years, I start, just by random finding these channels and, recommendations on the sidebar and stuff. And there's, people doing Napoleonics, American Civil War, some American War of Independence too, but in 15 millimeter, and some fantasy too. And it was really intriguing. But then, yes, when I came to your house then and saw what it actually looks like and how it moves on the table, and how you can still use, a 6x4x6 or a 4x8 table can give you some really large, massive, cool battles without it being just this big cluster, of 28 millimeter. Because when my buddy Mark and I were looking at what we were trying to decide if we were going to do American Civil War or American War of Independence in 28s, and we picked American War of Independence. And I just thought, well, there's no way I'm going to do both, because that's the thing I know, and it's just it would take me too long to paint that, and it'd get fairly expensive. And then I've watched some large battles where guys have, they got the regiments lined up, and they are literally like, they're stem to stern. They're just packed on the table, and it does look cool as heck. But you don't get any of that maneuver that you can get with a 15 on the same size space, or 10s. I thought about 10s too, but I think I like to paint a little more detail into the miniatures, and it would still be quick. And I think I'd be more pleased with the results from 15. And there's so many good choices out there for American Civil War in 15 millimeter, including terrain. But yeah, like you said, Rusty, I think after playing, that was the first time I've ever played a game in 15, and seeing all of them lined up like that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're sitting there throwing entire divisions on the table instead of just in the footprint, it normally fills up on a 28 mil.
Yeah. And because then, like, your cavalry can do these big old sweeping motions. They don't just basically plow ahead, take a left turn, and that was, there can be more maneuver, which I like. And there's some American Civil War games that really have that into the rules that allow for that too. So yeah, it's just something that's always intrigued me, and I think I'll be disappointed if I never do something in that scale on that level. And I'm not saying I'll paint thousands of them, but I would have, I think I could paint up over time. It would be another project that I'd work on over time and gradually build it up, and you can play it even when you've got less. And the 10 millimeter is, is intriguing too. Pendragon. I actually did get I think for, I don't know, it was only like $40. You could get a starter army, a Union starter army for American Civil War, and I think I'd be happy painting those too. So once I finish this project I'm working on now, I think I'm going to get those two out and kind of start fiddling and see. Probably won't be till this upcoming winter, I'm guessing, and see what I want to do, and then start moving forward. I really just consistently over the last year and a half, I just keep coming back to like, oh man, I'm really itching to do it. I'm really itching to do it. So it's time.
Yeah, I keep looking at these 15s in front of me. That it's like, yeah, I should get some work done on those things. It needs to get started.
There's always so much to do, but. And then I looked at Warlords, like Tim mentioned here. He said he was looking at Warlords Epic, and which was tempting to me too. I just think I would burn out on painting that because it's literally the same strips. And I've seen people cut them apart and do some really cool things. But even the Union and the Confederates are the exact same sprue as far as their infantry. And I just think I'd burn out on that, and I want a more ragtag look on the Confederates, but I want all, at least on a lot of the Union units, I'd like them to have the kepis and, be pretty uniform. And the Epics, Warlords Epic doesn't really handle that the way I would like to do it. So, and I don't think I would probably be using black powder for it either. I was looking at like Fire and Fury, and there's what is the Pickett's Charge is another one that looks really intriguing. I've watched some battle reports on that.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do, I think. Because you could buy a good chunk of the project right there. Spend 100 or 100 and some on terrain, and then miniatures, and yeah, you could have quite a force.
I'm just going to catch up real quick on comments before I give my answer there.
Mm-hmm.
Chris says, rules, STL files, and resin, lots of laughs. I'm assuming that's what he would spend on $500.
Yeah.
Rule book, STL files, resin. You can get pretty far with that. Victor says, $500 would be a dip in the deep well of digging me out of all the projects I currently have sitting around.
Yeah.
Chris says, let's not talk about that video I yelled at the screen. And I think he's referring to what I don't know if you guys caught what I said, but I haven't even seen the video, but I've heard a lot of splash about somebody that had made a really pointed video about how,
about wargaming?
Well, it was actually about historical wargaming. It was about if you played a certain faction, then you were, sympathetic to that
or
faction.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I was making a joke about the Germans when Rusty
Yeah.
said
I hadn't watched the video, but it caused quite a stir.
Yeah, I haven't actually watched it either. I didn't even know who actually put it out until recently. Somebody mentioned it.
Yeah.
Tim says, Dan, that is exactly what I was thinking. Warlords Epic would be great. Yeah, that's what you were referring to in your discussion.
Yeah.
Chris says, I'm doing this project right now. Second Crusades. I'm at $150 so far on files and $65 on the rule book.
Oh, man.
Hello, Barnes White. Thanks for joining us. We got another gentleman that's joined us tonight.
Oh, there he is.
And Victor says 10 millimeter has lots of detail, and they paint up very well. 90% of my armies are 10 millimeter. Okay.
Huh.
And Chris says, I picked up that new Speed Paint metallic paint set today. Oh, I've heard of it. Now, the Speed Paint metallic, is the new one Vallejo?
Where's the Army Painter? Which one's Speed Paint?
I know after GW came out with their contrast paints, that there have been a couple of companies now that have followed suit, and I've heard people talking about it, but I'm not sure which one it is.
Army Painters come up with, aren't they Speed Paints? I forget.
Chris says, my epic ACW, I paint a brigade at a time. and then I take a break.
Well, that's one way to get a major chunk of it done.
Well, yeah.
I just went into the YouTube portal, and I can see Chris's comment before it appears here in StreamYard. He says that it's Army Painter. Oh, now there it is. Army
Yeah, that's
Painter.
what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. So before we go to our next topic, as we're working on this one still, what I hadn't thought heavily about this one before the show, but I have a tendency when I have found money, like for wargaming, like money that is all of a sudden become available, or like, you know, I haven't spent money in a long time, and I'm like got money burning, like an itch burning in my pocket to get something. To usually try to buy something that I normally wouldn't buy because I'm kind of like I would just be being cheap or something, you know, and I just don't want to buy it. And so before I canceled my order because they never delivered on it even remotely within the time frame they said they were going to, I actually did that with by buying a foreground Japanese village like terrain set for Test of Honor, and then they were going out of business kind of sale, and
yeah, I remember that.
I bought it and then 3 months later, like they said it was going to take some time, but 3 months later, they were initially, the thing that really got me is that they were doing people's kits in order of purchase, and so when you placed your order was determined when you would get it, and so they actually literally had on their site, like, you know, where you were. But then all of a sudden, like 3 to 4 months in, they changed the rules, and they were like, the most popular kits are going out now. Like if you were doing popular kits, they were starting to do them in bulk. But if you had one of their less popular models, you'd have to wait. And then I was like, okay, give me my money back. I was like, I'm never going to see anything from you guys when I want to. So just give me my money back. You know, that's just kind of the way I am. Cause I kind of set out to do something. When you tell me it's going to take a while and you tell me the rules, I'm good. But then when you start to change them and you start to like, and there's no end in sight. That's when then the business side of me and cutting my losses now comes out.
Yeah.
But
makes sense.
That's just me. And so in any case, if I had it now, so that's kind of how I do things, is I tend to buy things that I normally wouldn't. Speaking of like a type of game that I've never like invested in that I would probably be into doing as like a bucket list game, and having found money that would really set me up well for it, is I probably would look for a nice Western rule set and get Foundry miniatures that are kind of out of my I've never been able to get myself to buy them from a price perspective, but I really like them. I kind of like the Western Foundry miniatures.
I do have some.
Yeah, and they're nice. They're really nice. And then I'd probably just invest in either a 3D printer, invest in some terrain, you know, to make up a Western board. You know, I do like looking at them. It's been that project that's always been out there that I've never pursued, but I've always kind of looked at.
Well, you could be like Bill, where he printed off a major town.
Yeah, he did. Do you have a rule set in mind? Or a couple?
That's always the problem. I mean,
there's some cool ones out there.
Well, you know, I've struggled a little bit with it because in some ways I'm not sure that I actually want like sort of like the rule set that's based around like the spaghetti, like, or like the Western like cinema. But then a lot of what we identify with is that, because in a lot of ways, and then if you kind of go pure wargaming Western, there's not that many that go that route, and then you could potentially lose a lot of the factions you're trying to look into and stuff. There was a time when I was really considering the one. Oh gosh, what was the name of it? I don't even remember the name anymore. It was like, but it had a lot of versatility in it. You could almost do kind of just about anything you wanted, but it was an older, clunkier set. And so I actually was thinking about that. Legends of the Old West is probably one, if I had the board, I would play, like the Games Workshop one, just to.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I have the rules for that. I've never played it. That looks amazingly fun.
Yeah. I think I would play that just because I have it and I would want to try it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
You like set it up like A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Is that another rule set?
No, it's
The movie. The movie. Oh, the movie.
Oh, the
I don't
movie.
remember
Yeah,
that one.
You've never seen it?
I've never seen it.
I'm sure I probably have actually
Oh
years
man,
ago, but
I laugh my tail off every time I watch that movie.
I like the
Well-
campaign system that they have in Legends of the Old West.
Yeah, I tried my hand at writing a Western set, but Gunslingers and Desperados, I called it.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good title.
It worked out fairly decent, but took it to the conventions a few times,
Oh, okay.
which is why I have Western miniatures.
Well, that makes sense. I don't own a single Western miniature. Black Scorpion has some cool looking ones, in my opinion. I think they're resin, though. They look cool.
Well, the thing is about Western stuff, you don't need a lot of miniatures.
No, that's the thing. The terrain usually, because mostly they're skirmish type games, so you'd, at least for me, I'd want to invest some in. Of course, you need a fair amount, and then I would like it to look cool. But
the one that I was thinking of, I just looked it up, is called The Rules with No Name. I don't know if you heard of that one.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those.
I have heard of that. Yeah.
That's the one that I was actually looking into at one point.
Okay.
Actually, there's some stuff in the comments about this. Chris says Cold War. His Cold War is 10 millimeter. Says he has the fistful of lead on its way to my house right now. I've been painting a lot of Western stuff. Oh, that's timely in the discussion. And then Victor says fistful of lead is a great system. Played at our local convention. Lots of fun.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it. Yeah.
Is that the one that that Bill's playing too?
I think so.
Mm. One of the things that, like, I always find, I always find reasons to not like a rule set when I'm like looking into it or watching a video. I guess one of the things that I was hoping for, among many things, is that it had a lot of ability to mix up like your characters, and that you weren't just like banditos, you weren't just like this, you weren't just that. Like, it wasn't just kind of pigeonholing you into like a type of gang. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why. I kind of just like the idea of a little creativity, where you could kind of have like your own characters in there for whatever reason you want them to.
I get that.
And then some of them use cards and some of them use dice, and I wasn't so sure about that because I think it's a Dead Man's Hand that uses cards.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, and I don't know. I guess I could see the benefit of both at times. I have a tendency to gravitate towards dice games, but
yeah,
it's what we know the best.
Yeah. Chris says I have a bunch of Sarissa Western buildings built. I like Sarissa Precision. I actually a lot of my French Indian War buildings are Sarissa Precision, and particularly if you like to paint your own buildings, they might make nice kits that are reasonably priced.
Yep.
Speaking of buildings, I do have that before Novus went out of business.
Oh yeah.
Did you order anything?
Yeah, I did. I got the munitions factory, which came shortly after we talked. It's a second copy of it because I can use it to help fill up, my Stalingrad table that I'm actually currently working on. Yeah, too bad.
Still have mine in the bag right here.
Okay.
I haven't even opened it up yet.
That's some nice stuff for the money. He had some amazing Stalingrad stuff for 20 millimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a good idea though, Palmer. Like you said, that's kind of the way I was looking at the spend. It's something that I'm not sure. It's always kind of creeps into the front of my mind, and then it gets pushed back. And But I think something that, I've always kind of wanted to do, and it sounds like that's the way that Western one is for you.
Tim has got to go. Thanks for stopping by, Tim.
Yeah. Hey, take care,
Right, Tim.
Chris says FFOL uses cards and dice. Which one is that? FFOL.
Fistful.
Oh, Fistful of Lead. What you guys are talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff out there. You just have to go digging for it to find it and give it a shot.
Ha! Give it a shot.
Ah, nice. Well, and the thing, though, on those Western skirmish games is, once you have the miniatures, the rule sets aren't terribly expensive, and so and once you have the terrain and the miniatures, you can, try some different ones or modify the ones that you purchase or whatever.
Yeah,
you're not out much.
And that's the thing about any type of historical style miniatures that, you can just change the rule set. You still got the miniatures you can use.
Yeah. So
Victor says, I've got a bunch of Western buildings coming from 3D design. I'm DYZN. I'm sure that's cool. So, are they 3D printed miniatures that you purchase from someone?
Western buildings coming from 3D DYZN. 3D design. I'm trying to think. That sounds familiar. Yeah, it's hard to keep up with
everybody.
Yeah, this stuff just popping out of the woodwork everywhere.
And
then, go ahead, Rusty.
I say with a lot of these 3D printed design stuff is that they can design it and print it off for you and sell it.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't need a sculptor anymore other than somebody that knows that you
how to use CAD. Yeah. Yeah.
They got the time.
Victor says that Fistful of Lead only uses the cards for activation and dice for everything else. That's kind of like Musket and Tomahawks in some ways. I kind of like that.
Yeah, that is fun. I don't mind the cards. That gives you a whole nother, some other different, not just dynamics, but just some different mechanics that, you combine that with dice. Yeah, I don't have any problem with that at all.
Sharp's Practice does that too.
Yep. Yeah, most of the Lardy games have a deck of cards. Yeah, so
you would go into something of that nature. Is your $500 purchase then?
I think so. That's sort of like one that I'm not really planning on doing because I don't have the $500 at this point in the time, but it would be something. Really, what made me think of it was the price of the miniatures, just like buying the miniatures from Foundry. Like that was the thing that really got me. And then I guess that it would be the terrain too, the purchasing terrain. Maybe, I don't know. Either that or I'd print it.
Well, the amount of time it takes to print off some terrain, you're just looking at the expense of the resin.
Yeah.
So you think you'll do it someday, Palmer, or is this just...
I don't think so.
You don't?
To be honest, probably not.
Huh.
I have so many things that I have unfinished that I have right now.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
To do. Like, I've got to paint that High Elf army.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to paint I still have a lot of French Indian War stuff to paint.
Well, I know. And that's why I said I can't buy a 3D printer. I really don't need to buy any more miniatures, even.
You never know. I might. I mean, it's always been something that I've said for years that I would do. So maybe I'll do it someday. But right, I don't really have
Well,
any
hopefully you
interest.
got a lot of time left to see.
That's true. You never
know?
know, right?
Well, you never know.
So when you win the lottery, you're going to have that $500 to spend.
Yeah.
So we got that other topic, and we've got
Yep.
about 26 minutes
Okay.
roughly. And so the other one was, what place does random events and effects have in games? What do you think, Dan? What place does random effects and events have?
I personally love it.
Mhm.
But I think it depends what kind of what do you like about gaming, and then what kind of gaming do you like? And for me, which we've talked before, I like the narrative, storytelling, winning, and I'm trying to win, but for me, it's more about enjoying the ride. It's almost like a choose your own adventure book to me when I'm playing a tabletop game.
Mhm.
Where you're making choices, but you get blindsided, and that's why I like those random events, because there's no way in any kind of a combat situation you've got complete control over what's happening anyway. I mean, even in real life, that's not true. And I like to introduce that in limited quantities. And it's not, obviously that doesn't work in tournament settings, or somebody that's ultra competitive, or somebody that enjoys the list building part and building, trying to find this ultimate combination of things. That's going to just drive them nuts probably. But for me, I love it. I love it in Muskets and Tomahawks. That one in particular is a game where it would pop up fairly often. I don't have too many games that I play that have, of course, old fantasy doesn't have random events, but it's a lot of random. I mean, I'm not talking about just die rolling, but I like the random events where Muskets and Tomahawks is the one that comes to mind when I was thinking of this earlier. And my buddy and I that play, we just love that. I mean, it creates a story, or it's hilarious, I love it. I prefer that over not. But so that's what I think.
In Musket and Tomahawks, I forget, how's the random event come about?
Isn't there an event card? Isn't that right, Palmer?
Yeah. There's tables of all kinds of random events, but you have a card that is mixed into the deck, and it'll come up. And it's been a while since I played it, to be honest.
Yeah,
I feel like the old guy that really supported Musket Thomas for a long time. I feel a little stressed when you ask me questions now, because I haven't played in so long. But yeah, it is a card. You're right, Dan. And they have like a couple of 3 cards that in the first edition that you can mix into the deck.
Yeah, depending on how many units you had, wasn't it? Determine how many you put in, or you could do it on your own.
It wasn't really that clear, to be honest. That was one of the least clear things in the game, as to how exactly you structure it. But the cards, but we would just mix them in, and the tables were exhaustive enough that it was actually kind of cool.
It was so cool.
Yeah. So that was always a lot of fun.
Well, even the last time I played Bolt Action with my buddy Mark, we just dreamt up a random thing. We had these on the table. We had these markers. They happened to be livestock, but it didn't matter. And we just put them on the board, and then we put an activation die in the bag for each of those. Mm-hmm. And when that would come up, then you could randomly pick one of the 3 that was on the board, and then it would move so many inches, and you got points if you had it, or if you were, it was like an objective, but they'd be moving around the board. And even if you had it claimed, there was a % chance that it could break away from you and move in a random direction. And so, it really, we had a blast with that. We just made it up as we went. And we were basically introducing our own random event into that game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's easy to do, but again, you can't be it isn't going to always be fair. So I mean, if you're into that, it might not be your scene, but yeah.
But the only times I had some random events is when we were playing Warhammer Fantasy. If you remember the Winds of War, Winds of Magic,
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, Winds of Magic.
when you would roll, hey, basically it was their version of something screwed up happening.
Yep. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. You don't mean like the miscasts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you just suddenly turned your guy into a spawn.
Yeah.
And it goes rampaging across the battlefield in a random direction, kind of like a what do you call it? Goblin fanatic.
Yeah. Right. Some of the early editions, like that 4th, 5th edition had a lot of random stuff you'd roll to see what your giant would do, and some of it was just comical, and of course the whole stupidity roll was always kind of funny anyways, but
He just
And I
sits
have to
there
do
and
that a lot
wanders.
for.
yeah, it works in goblins you get.
Yeah.
It's like he stuffs the guy in the bag and just
He puts him in. Doesn't he put him in his pants or something? Isn't one of them?
Yeah, and then there's another he stuffs him in the bag and wanders off the battlefield.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go get lunch.
Good lunch. Lost track of what we were doing here.
So Rusty, is that that you like the random events?
Yeah, they're not bad. They add some flair to it. Kind of sometimes a game is, you get used to it being the same way every time, and then suddenly you play in an army that's got random events in it, and the next thing you know, you're like, oh, I'm not expecting that to happen. So it adds a little bit of flavor.
It's funny. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we had sort of random events in one of the games we designed where if you rolled a 1, bad things could happen. You roll like if you're rolling your saves, you roll a 1, bad things could happen.
Yeah.
Or if you roll a 20, a natural, you get a random event could happen where you get a heroic something where a guy does a heroic deed for the unit.
Yeah, that stuff's cool.
I would talk about Musk and Atomics. I know we were talking about that a fair bit. Actually, I'm just going to read a couple comments before I mention my answer, just because they're related to this. One, Vic says another great set for Western games is In Her Majesty's Name, which just dropped the magic stuff to play. Which actually, if I remember correct, they made a supplement that actually had more of a Western focus. I thought they did. Maybe I'm thinking it was more like Africa and the East or something, but they had something like that. And then he says 3D design is all MDF products, so I'll have to look them up.
Okay.
I think Chris know them. Yeah.
Chris says Musk and Tomahawks is an all-time favorite of mine. I had my general get stuffed in a giant's pants. I think he's referring to Warhammer Fantasy.
Warhammer,
yeah. I mean, like my experience for random events is primarily with Musk and Tomahawks, and I could talk about that. But I guess the funny thing is, I've been playing a lot of Mordheim lately, and campaigns where you have things that happen after the game that are random. I wonder if that's a twist on it a little bit. Like it's not an event in game, but like we would have like my Centaur would have to deal with drunkenness and stupidity, and I do that rolling like you'd mentioned.
Sure.
That happens in the game, but then after the game, all kinds of random events happen. Like like my shaman was like looking for something in a well, and when he rolled, he ended up drinking from it and getting sick. And this was and then like there was I don't know, just like my on another game, the same character actually ended up learning something by losing and actually doing better. And then, my Centaur ended up getting robbed, his stuff. And like, there's all kinds of stuff like that happens after the game that adds to the story, which I think is a lot of fun. In a lot of ways, like the game in Mordheim, like there's a little game that happens after the game, you depending on how you did, if you're the victor, you end up with more chances to not only get loot and things, but also to explore within the city, and then random kind of event kind of things happen. It's kind of fun. I think that, like you were alluding to the fact that if you're a really competitive player and it's all just about beating the other person primarily, and if it's like a game of chess where like the goal is to win, if that's the way that somebody's playing the game, then maybe that kind of stuff's not that much fun. But a lot of us, I think a lot of the people that I associate with, even through YouTube, a lot of us are a bit more narrative and story driven players. And if that's the case, I think the random events and all of that kind of stuff gets right up your alley usually.
Yeah. I think the older you get, or or at least middle-aged gamers, you're more into the story, and it just seems like that. I kind of noticed that just when people's transition, they're getting something different out of the game than they did when they were younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you played for 30, 40 years, it's like, I've won tons of games, what does it matter in the long run? I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
My time is limited, and I want to make the most of it.
Yeah, I want it to be a fun experience. And if you're worried about winning and losing as your primary focus, then then it's going to limit your fun.
For sure.
Well, then we need games with more random events. And so what are some of the ones, again, because when I just thought about it a little bit while I was working this afternoon, and that was the one I could think of that I know for sure I play that has that. I guess I have not played it, but Sharp's Practice has that too, right? Like your powder can get, your barrels need cleaned or something.
Yeah, I forget the name of it, but there's
when you get 3 flags in a row, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. And then depending on whether you did an offensive or a defensive action, there's 2 different tables.
That's
and
right.
They're actually pretty good. They're pretty good.
Just little things.
They're little things. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not musket and tomahawks. I really like. Having said that, I've been playing in recent years more Sharp Practice than musket and tomahawks. I really like Sharp Practice as a game, to be fair, and to actually use my forces in a bigger battle kind of way.
That's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but when we're talking random events, the musket and tomahawks ones, I could pull it over and out and read from it, but it's just great.
They're
really
incredibly cool. Is in the second edition, did it change any of them or add to it? Do you remember? I've never played the second edition. I have the book.
Me too. I've never played it, even though I have it. When I looked at it, I feel like I don't know if they cut it short. I know they definitely have them. I don't know if they cut it shorter or if they're exactly the same. I hate to think that I'd like to think that they would actually have made it the same, but I almost think because of the way they did the printing in it that it might have actually been cut down a little bit, but I'd have to look.
Yeah. I haven't played in years.
Yeah, me either. It's been.
We went through a phase where my buddy and I we played the whole summer. Every time we got together, we played muskets and tomahawks. And that was so fun. When we first started the AWI project, yeah. Good game.
That would have been, 4 years ago we started the project?
Yeah, 2018 or 19, I think, is when I painted my first ones, probably somewhere.
Yeah. I just remember going hog wild for about a year just to get an army ready. Catch up with you.
Yeah, and then I moved on to other things for quite a while, and now I'm back. Yeah.
Who says I'm about to try Majestic 13 this week. It's a X-Files XCOM type minis game fighting aliens. Well, that sounds interesting.
Huh.
That sounds pretty cool. And I've been playing a lot of Rapid Fire lately.
Oh, that's an oldie.
Yeah.
I've never played it, and I don't have the rules, but I've watched a couple playthroughs on YouTube. And
the Rapid Fire is what, World War II?
Yep.
I think I have it in the back room someplace. It's amongst my pile of hundreds of rule books.
Yeah, you got quite the collection.
I need to pare down my collection.
I don't know.
Well,
we talked about not selling minis or rules.
Speaking of that, I sold off some my epic Tyranids today.
Oh, did you?
They went to the mailbox or out to the post office.
I'm playing it's got the funeral music going for you here.
Well, when you got stuff that never sees the light of day, it's never going to get played again. I'm just like, I'll never play them. So
yeah, I never play. Yeah, Chris says they played Juno Beach last weekend. That's appropriate. It's over.
Oh yeah.
It's what 78th anniversary of D-Day.
79th.
Is it 9?
79, because next year will be 80.
Yeah, what's this? Oh, yeah. Yep, 79.
Because D-Day was 20 years before I was born.
Yeah, just missed it. Too bad.
Yeah, it's like my parents were around for it, but you just think 20 years ago would have been 2003.
Mm-hmm.
We were just really ramping up the second Gulf War. Like, you think about it, how time flies.
Yeah, it does.
Victor says Nuts is a nice skirmish set for World War II. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
I've heard
it. Isn't it an old... Yeah, it's still out there. Playing the whole beach. Huh. That's cool. Is rapid fire the one that you don't... What's the one where you don't measure anything? There's a World War II set. It's an older set. But you don't do any measuring. Or measure for movement. Is that what it is? Or something. But it's a skirmish 28mm game.
I'd have to go looking for it to see what it is.
Anyway, I thought maybe you'd remember. Crossfire. Yeah, that's the one. Good job.
Sorry, 20 years ago was like the 1970s. No.
I wish it was.
Yeah, it's like younger. The 1970s.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, and I started in, I would have been into the 70s in June. I was almost into my junior high when I was in the 9th grade when I finished the 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Victor got it right. Crossfire's the game I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Crossfire's. That's his favorite, Chris's favorite. Never played. Huh.
Yeah,
I'd like to try some other World War II skirmish games. I have, oh gosh, now I can think of Sharp Practice.
Chain of Command.
Chain of Command, thank you.
Yeah.
I have it, but I've never played it.
Yeah, I got Chain of Command too. It's just
I have all the minis. I got everything I need, but it's just we play bolt action. I don't know why. Huh.
Well, bolt action is very simple.
Yeah, it is very simple, and it's a very cinematic type game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to play something that's sort of cinematic, but a little more grunt to it,
yeah.
Battleground, Easy 8 Battleground.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I remember you talking about that one.
Yeah, I remember that too.
It's a pretty decent system.
I should pick up a few more rule sets. Yeah.
If you can, they kept it a print up until COVID hit, so I don't know if it's still being.
Yeah, I'm sure you could still find it around. If you just did a search online, you'd find it.
Yeah. They have a whole bunch of campaign books. They got the main rule book, then they have different campaigns throughout Europe, and then they were starting to get into the Pacific War before they shut things down. Before the big fire.
Big fire, yeah. Yeah, it has no turns or ranges. That's what it was. I remember watching the guy play. It was a whole different set of mechanics.
Yeah, it's like Battleground is from the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
And they came out either with another edition or reprint or some reprints recently, right? Because isn't that the one that you talk quite a bit about? It's like made for 15 typically.
That's Battle
Group.
Oh, I'm thinking Battle Group. When you said Battleground, I was thinking Battle Group.
Yeah, Battleground was.
Old dude.
It's from the 90s. It was Easy 8 Enterprise. It was
like early 90s even, isn't it?
Oh, I'd
maybe.
say mid 94, 95.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
It's like Mini Wormuts in the house. Hello, hello.
Oh, hey.
It says Nordic Weasel Games, 5 men in Normandy.
Huh.
Nordic Weasel Games.
Is that extremely small, like squad on squad, or what is that? I never heard of that.
Yeah, me either.
Literally 5 men.
Battle group.
Just not enough time.
Then 5 men at Kursk. All 5 men were in a tank. And that's it.
That was the end of the story. Oh gosh.
So what'd you guys get done tonight?
I got enough done. I ended up painting the skin tones on a few miniatures, and then I ended up doing 2 coats of different color paints on these weird stone that I was showing you guys. So
yeah,
kind of doing. So I did a little bit of both, just messing around, and then still got stuff to do, but still got a lot to do on the miniatures, but coming along.
But you got some progress made. That's good.
Exactly. How about you?
I got. I'm still working on the last 8 British, the command stand for my regiment I've been working on for a few weeks here. But I did got a couple coats and a highlight on the red coats, and by next time they'll be all done for sure. Sure.
Nice.
Yeah. Loving it.
How about you, Rusty?
Oh, I put some more coats of paint on her. She's a little more brighter red now.
Yeah.
So I get her nice and bright red, then I'll put a wash on her, and then start all
bring it back up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I got another coat on Daredevil, so he's a little brighter too. I probably need to put one more coat on him before I put a wash on, just to start off.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
good deal.
I got another coat on his base. So he's like got his foot up. It's like that. So he's standing.
There he is. So. Man, that's massive.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Let's see. And then I did get this guy. He's all wet, so put a wash.
Yeah.
I put a base coat on him, got him the brown on it, and then I just put a wash on it to get into all the cracks and crevices. And now I can go in and bring everything out.
Yeah.
And then I got to figure out what
Won't
kind of
take long.
decal I want to put on the front or water slide.
Yeah. Yep.
I think all I got left is the air identification symbol that they started putting on it.
Yeah, the star with the circle, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have any small stars left, so I have to put
That's very Normandy, and that's, or at least that'd be appropriate.
Yeah. Sometimes you see in pictures they got one on the front and they got one on the back deck. So.
I know. Excuse me. When I was doing research on where to put my decals too, you found out it was kind of a little bit of everything, and you find old black and white photos, and there wasn't any set thing.
They just had the symbol had to be. They just said, all right, it's got to go on the vehicle. Okay, let's put it in.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got to stay alive.
Trying.
So, unfortunately, hey, it's like we can't see the tank, but we could see the white star.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, okay, we'll shoot the white star. Thanks for the nice target.
Yeah. Well, we've got some comments in here, and unfortunately, I know we are getting ready to go. We're at about the 2-hour mark. Minnie, it's unfortunate that you came in just kind of towards the end. It was good to see you on the show tonight. But I noticed that you did mention on the last comment here that you got some TT Combat Scenics terrain, and you're right. I actually do use that for a lot of my Marvel stuff, and I still do. And so that's great stuff. I mean, I like their buildings. They're really good. He's like, I blame you for spending my money. Yeah, no. We would look forward to you if you're able to make it out again, chatting with you further on the next show, which
Absolutely.
I think we're going up into episode 16 for this season, and I think the next one is going to be on Rusty's channel. That's probably going to be the last one until the next season starts, and we'll go into year 7. Believe it or not, like that's kind of crazy. Could you imagine being at a decade of the Musty Wargamers? Be crazy, but
that means
time flies. It waits for no one.
It does. Yeah, it moves.
It does faster than you can believe. Even when we talk about games we started that we've not finished, getting stuff ready for it, and we start talking about 3 to 4 years. Oh, we did that. Started that 3 years ago. It's kind of crazy when you think about it that way. But
it's like every once in a while I'll go look. It's like you start thinking about, when did I paint that? And I go into my library of update videos, and I'll type in what I think the title might have been or what its subject, and it pops up. And that was 7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
It's interesting to look at your painting from even like 3-4 years ago, at least for me. It's still nice, but it's, I'm doing some better things now. It's interesting how much it changes.
No, it's amazing actually when you look over time at our painting.
Yeah.
For sure. So, well, gentlemen,
all right.
Nice show tonight, and as usual, it was fun. Got some stuff done.
Same.
And
we'll be seeing everybody in 2 weeks over at my channel here.
Sweet.
And that would be the 22nd.
Wow. Yeah.
Which will be the wrap up, and we'll have the Musty Wargamer drinks galore that night.
Yeah, I'll have a drink that night. Actually, I'll save my drink for the show.
Yeah, good to see everybody, and including Vic. It was good to see you again.
Been a long time.
Look forward to seeing you again and
Chris,
chatting more with you. So.
Yep.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
Night.